What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the station, and I want to say it's been about a month. Let's go with a month. My name's Price Everett. I am the host of this show, and first off, I want to thank all of you guys who have been following us, even though it's been very sporadic. I know that consistency hasn't exactly been a strong point, but I'm going to explain why that has been, and then I'm going to touch on some quick things. I'm going to give you a little quick review of my thoughts on Deadpool, some news that came out yesterday that I'm really excited about, and just kind of give you some updates on which way the station's going from now on. So first off, the reason it's been a little bit since we've had a show is really just not one particular thing. It's been a combination of a lot of things. Scheduling, life just getting hectic with school and other things. There's been personal matters, and all these things have kind of kept us from being able to do a show in a little bit. And we are sorry for that. But, things had to be taken care of before we could really kind of come back and do an episode. And the reason we're doing this episode on a Tuesday is because, I have the time, and, this is, I'm really going to try and make this more of a priority, and we'll get more to that towards the end, but, I just wanted to let you guys know that we are going to try and get this back to at least once a week. But anyway, like I said, it's just been a combination of, there's a lot of things that just kind of happen, scheduling conflicts with guests, life just getting hectic, and all types of different personal dilemmas. But that's okay, because we are back at it now. Gonna give you an episode, and I know it's just me, and I know that might not be the most exciting thing for some of you to hear, but hey, I promise, I'm gonna do my best to keep this fun. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our first little thing, and that's actually going to be a review of the movie Deadpool, which came out about 3 weeks ago. I saw it, and I loved it. It was hilarious, great action. Ryan Reynolds the guy was born to play Deadpool. Honestly, everything he said, it fit what I thought Deadpool should be. I'm not one of those people who's going to say it's the greatest comic book movie ever made, because I don't think it is, but I do think it's the best they could have done with a Deadpool movie. The budget was right. They got the right characters. Performances were great. Great action. But the thing that stands out the most is the humor. It's a hysterical movie. You're laughing from the opening credits till the end of the movie. It's great. And it does have some serious and darker components when it comes to Deadpool's origin, which I did appreciate. But at the same time, the overall tone is just very, very humorous. It's so much fun to watch. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go see it in theaters. It's something you need to see in theaters. Fox did a great job. They obviously didn't handcuff the creators on it. Director Tim Miller, as a first-time full film or big film director, did a fantastic job. Ryan Reynolds, like I said, is great as Deadpool. Marina Baccarin is great as the main female character. T.J. Miller's hilarious as Weasel. The villain, played by Ed Skrein, who I won't give away his name because it's kind of a fun part of the movie, he's a great villain. He's great for what the movie needed it to be, and they kind of reference the fact that, yes, he's the British villain, but, it works. It's a it's a well-made movie. It's better than I thought it would be. I think it's better than a lot of people thought it would be. So if you haven't had a chance to go see that yet in theaters, I would go check that out. It's really great. I'm actually planning on going to seeing Zootopia this week, so I've heard fantastic things about that, and I really want to see it. But yeah, Deadpool, go see it. It's been making a killing, by the way, at the box office. I mean, I want to say it's past $330 million domestically, which is huge. I mean, that's a lot of money for domestic. I don't think it's doing amazing in a lot of the international markets, but I mean, the budget on this thing was about $58 million, and so I mean, it on its opening weekend, it made all of its money back. I mean, practically tripled. I think it made around, I want to say 150, but that could be a little bit much. But it made a lot of money. I mean, it made a lot of money. Fox is definitely happy. They've already greenlit Deadpool 2. Hope Cable should be in it, which is going to be great. And obviously, we will let you know any Deadpool 2 news we hear. But, I mean, the viral marketing campaign that they had for it definitely worked. People went out and drove to see it. It was so good. People want to go see it again. It's just a movie that surprised a lot of people. It's definitely different. That's why it did so well. It definitely deserves to be seen if you haven't seen it. So if you haven't seen Deadpool, go check it out before it gets out of theaters. So anyway, so a couple of movie topics that have just recently come up. As we know, Batman vs. Superman comes out March 25th. I'm so excited for this film. Any of you guys have watched the previous episodes, you've heard me mention it, that like this is my most anticipated movie of the year. Do I think it's going to be the best film of the year? I don't know. I mean, there was a misstep, I think, with that second trailer when they showed too much. They did, but I mean, you know, and people want to badmouth this film. But, I mean, everything else they've released, marketing-wise, for me, has just been incredibly solid. I think Ben Affleck's going to rock it as Batman. You know, and I think that, I think it's going to be a great movie, but coincidentally, they've actually just released some casting announcements for Justice League, which Part 1 comes out in I want to say 2017. I'm pretty sure it's June 2017. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain on that. And it's that JK Simmons, okay, well known for playing J. Jonah Jameson in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, as well as recently winning an Oscar for his performance in Whiplash for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. The guy's amazing. Has been cast as the new Commissioner Gordon. This is crazy. I mean, I love this news. I love J.K. Simmons. He's a great actor. Commissioner Gordon's probably one of, if not my favorite Batman side character. You know, that's not like an immediate member of the Bat family. I mean, I love Commissioner Gordon. Gary Oldman was phenomenal as Commissioner Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy. So it's kind of hard to think of somebody else playing that. But J.K. Simmons, who, you know, people might only think, well, you know, he was J. Jonah Jameson, kind of funny in that. I mean, but the guy also just won an Academy Award for a very, like, vicious and serious role in Whiplash. I mean, the guy's an amazing talent. He's an amazing actor. And to see what he's going to bring to Commissioner Gordon in Justice League is just amazing. I mean, that's really exciting for me. I didn't even think about him being cast. I mean, my number one choice would have been Bryan Cranston, as I know a lot of people was. I mean, I'm a huge Bryan Cranston fan. You know, he recently got nominated for Best Actor in Trumbo, didn't win it. DiCaprio won the Best Actor at the Oscars, which I think he deserved. Revenant was great. But anyway, I think that Bryan Cranston was my number one pick, but I wasn't even thinking about J.K. Simmons. And now that they've announced J.K. Simmons, I'm nothing but behind it. I think that that's fantastic news. I think that, you know, he's a great actor, and I love Commissioner Gordon. I think he's going to bring a lot of cool things to the part, and I'm really excited to see it. As far as Bryan Cranston getting involved in a superhero movie, he's talked about wanting to be Mr. Sinister in an X-Men movie, which, I mean, I'm fine with. I don't know a whole lot about Mr. Sinister. But anyway, regardless, I'm very happy with this casting choice. Hopefully we'll see Bryan Cranston in some other comic book property. I think he's obviously going to shine whatever he does, but so is JK Simmons. So yeah, JK Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, I'm fully all the way behind it. I think it's going to be great. So yeah, Justice League, he will be Commissioner Gordon. Staying on some superhero topics, Sony recently announced that they're going to be making a Venom movie, which is going to be not in the same continuity as the new Spider-Man that's joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and also not in continuity with the previous Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's not going to be in it, and it's just Venom, and they want to make a franchise off of Venom. Can you hear the kind of confusion on my part? I mean, I know I read this correctly, but to me, it just sounds like a dumb idea. I mean, Venom doesn't make sense without Spider-Man. And why would you not want to... I mean, here's the thing. I don't hate Spider-Man 3 as much as most people do. But they horribly misuse Venom. Venom's one of, if not my favorite, Spider-Man villain. And for them to just be like, hey, we're going to make a Venom movie, I'm kind of excited about that, but it's not even connected to the Marvel Spider-Man that we're about to get, which Sony still owns the rights to, even though Marvel's using him in their movies. It's, a whole deal. But for you to have Venom without Spider-Man, I don't know if you can I don't know if I want to see Venom as the hero of his own movie. You know what I mean? It's just kind of... It's just kind of weird. I mean, he can be a cool anti-hero, but I think unless you have him with Spider-Man beforehand, a lot of his backstory just isn't going to make sense. People are going to be confused. I would rather eventually, down the road a little bit, kind of see how well Tom Holland does as our new Spider-Man. Excuse me, as our new Spider-Man. Eventually, yeah, I'd love to see them retackle the Venom story. Because... I mean, the Venom, the symbiote, all that stuff is such great material that you can do great stuff with. And for them to not use it as a Spider-Man villain, as a Spider-Man story, just to me does not make any sense. I'm sure there are people who think differently. If you think differently, please, obviously, with any of my opinions on any of the topics, please let us know in the comments. But I don't know, man. For me... I can't get behind a Venom movie that's not even connected to Spider-Man, and it's just confusing, and I can't get behind it, even though I love the character of Venom. To me, it just doesn't make much sense, but I guess, we really can't judge a movie until we see it, but as far as the prospect of it, the idea of it, I don't love it. Some other news that has come out is, like I said, Batman vs. Superman has been it's starting to really buzz a lot. There's been TV spots and all of this stuff. There's a third trailer that dropped during that hiatus, which I think is the best one that they dropped. It was incredible. Heard Wonder Woman speak. Speaking of Batman vs. Superman, there was a mini review done by somebody. I believe he works for Entertainment Weekly. Let me look up that source really quick. I'm pretty 99% sure he works for Entertainment Weekly. 1 second. Anyway, he wrote a little, not an official review, but just some little thoughts about, because he was able to see Batman vs. Superman. And some of his thoughts on it, it wasn't, he later clarified, this is not my official review, these are just some quick little thoughts on the movie. Yes, Anthony Bresnikan from Entertainment Weekly, and he sent out a tweet, and he said, the tweet itself says, "I gotta go right, but last thing I'll say about seeing hashtag Batman vs. Superman," and then in parentheses, "personally, I was happy," and then that was accompanied by a Twitter picture that said, had 6 little thoughts. Thought 1, if you loved Man of Steel, you'll love BVS. I love Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is fantastic. I can see why people don't like it, but for me, I thought it was a great take on Superman. And, saying that if I love Man of Steel, I'm going to love Batman vs. Superman, I think that's, for me, that makes me very, very happy. I thought, too, if you love Man of Steel but not the end, Batman vs. Superman may redeem that. Now, see, the ending, I know, is what a lot of people don't like about Man of Steel. That they a lot of them say that the final battle goes on too long. There's too much destruction of Metropolis, which I can see is valid points, but for me, I think it worked. But anyway, he says, if you loved everything, if you loved most of the movie except the ending, Batman vs. Superman may redeem that. That's also great. He also said, if you hated Man of Steel, you hated everything about it, and the whole, like the darker tone, which I still think Man of Steel actually had a very hopeful tone, but anyway, he says you're probably not going to like Batman vs. Superman. Now, here's the thing. The DC movies are just taking a darker, grittier tone with themselves more because, I don't want my DC movies to be like my Marvel movies. Marvel and DC are different in the comics. They should be different on screen too. I mean, I think that's what makes me so excited is we're going to have such a diversity of comic book movies. It's going to be like, in the comics they're all different. And so no, I don't think people saying that DC needs to be more like Marvel, that doesn't make any sense to me, but anyway. But yeah, third thought was if you didn't like the darker atmosphere of Man of Steel, you're probably not going to like Batman vs. Superman. I mean, I can understand that. I mean, I don't want this movie to get tanked because, I read online, I know a lot of journalists, like a lot of the journalists I read online, like on Polygon and Collider, a lot of the guys who, most of the time I really agree with or really respect their opinions, a lot of them just don't like Man of Steel at all. They just don't. And I've also followed many who do really like Man of Steel. So, that's the thing, is I just don't want this thing to get tanked on a bunch of review sites. But, we won't know until probably about a week beforehand. Anyway, but number 4, Wonder Woman, who, yes, is a big part of the movie, is a important character, though I don't think her role is gigantic, is fearsome. That's a direct quote. Wonder Woman is fearsome. I think that's great. Wonder Woman needs to be fearsome. Wonder Woman is awesome. I love Wonder Woman. I know Grayson, who's been on here, like that's his favorite DC hero. He loves Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's awesome. And I think that's a great adjective to hear is fearsome. You might think, Wonder Woman's going to be sexy. Wonder Woman's going to be, stuff like that. But to hear the word fearsome, I think that's what Wonder Woman needs to be. She's a warrior. She's an Amazon warrior. And that the word fearsome, I think, is something great to hear. Number 5, which I think is the most interesting one, number 5, there's a moment between Batman and Superman that'll make even the most cynical eye tear up a little. Okay, I guess I'm looking forward to getting teary-eyed while watching Batman vs. Superman. Awesome. I'm just really curious what that moment's gonna be. I think that's just kind of it's a really interesting thing to say. Let me know what you think. What kind of scene that could be? Don't get too weird, but that's just kind of an interesting thing to say. But hey, we will see, obviously. And number 6, the last one. I get kind of tongue-tied sometimes, if you haven't noticed. Fans will have a lot to discuss and fight over about this movie. I think Man of Steel was a very divisive movie, too. You can look on the Rotten Tomatoes, it's got like a 56, 57, which, does not mean it's a bad film at all. It means that over half of critics gave it a fresh rating. So, but like, it's close. Man of Steel, whether you love it or hate it, you have to respect the fact that there's a good amount of people who love it, and there's a good amount of people who just don't like it at all. And so what this seems to me is, I think overall it's not going to be quite as divisive as Man of Steel, but I still think there's going to be a good divide. I think there's going to be like a good chunk of people who don't like it, which can be expected. A lot of people don't like a lot of films, but Anyway, I like, if 56 is the score for Man of Steel, I'm thinking 68 to 70 is going to be the score for Batman vs Superman. Which, I mean, that's still like roughly 30% of people who aren't going to really enjoy it, which, I mean, is divide. People like to poke each other and make fun of each other online and bash each other for what they enjoy, which is stupid. But anyway, people like to do that, and, poking the bear is just never a good idea. So, I mean, there's probably going to be a bunch of internet crap and people fighting over it, but, that can be expected. I mean, it's been like that since this thing was announced. But, yeah, I think, overall, looking at this interesting review, as well as Entertainment Weekly has released, like, a bunch of cool stills from the movie and all that kind of stuff, I think that I'm still very optimistic about the movie. I think that me personally, I think I'm really going to enjoy it. And, pretty much everything he was echoing in that review is kind of what I wanted to hear for the most part, especially like if you love Man of Steel, you'll love Batman vs. Superman. Wonder Woman being fearsome. I think all of these things are stuff that I wanted to hear about it. Obviously, when there's more reviews out, we will let you know. And obviously, once we see the film, what I would like to do is do a proper review of it. Obviously, we were going to do that with Deadpool, but like I said, due to the other stuff that was aforementioned, we weren't able to get to do that. I would like to do a big BVS review. If no one else can do it, I'm going to do a long one. I don't care. Probably put it on YouTube or something. But, I think that this is going to be a great film. Personally, I feel like I'm really going to love it. And I think more people are going to like this movie than like Man of Steel. I'm optimistic about that. Which makes me really excited. I think that this film's kind of monumental. I mean, it's the first time we're seeing Batman and Superman together on film. It's the first time we're seeing Wonder Woman in a live-action movie. I mean, it's awesome. It's a great thing, and I think that's just something that we should be excited about. This whole you have to pick a side, whether it's Marvel or DC, I think is stupid. I think you can enjoy both. I enjoy both Marvel movies, and I'm like I grew up as a DC kid. Like I watched Justice League Unlimited, Teen Titans, all Batman the Animated Series on reruns, Superman the Animated Series. I watched Batman Beyond. I mean, I grew up watching that, but I also grew up watching the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. I was I was like 10 years old when Iron Man came out. I love those Marvel movies. Besides, like Iron Man 2, I didn't love Age of Ultron, but regardless, I love pretty much most things Marvel as well. I mean, I read more DC comics than I do Marvel comics, but I still have a huge respect for Marvel. I think they make great things. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm super excited for Captain America: Civil War, but this just goes to show you can like both Marvel and DC. You don't have to pick a side. I think the best thing people do is to watch both, appreciate both for what they are. And, I mean, that's the way these comic movies are going to keep coming out. These movies that we love to watch is if we, keep supporting them, keep watching, and be excited for more people getting involved. People are talking about making, or Sony, I believe, is talking about making a cinematic universe based on the Valiant comics, which I'd be interested in seeing. People, they're going to make a Sandman movie, which is DC's Vertigo line, which I think could be really great. I think Deadpool shows people like superhero movies that aren't, that are different, that are Deadpool obviously being a really comedy-oriented action movie. I think that having more companies make superhero movies, I don't think it's going to cause fatigue. I think it's going to cause more diversity, more things to watch, more, there's more movies. I think more comic movies, more characters to see, all these great things. So, I mean, I'm nothing but optimistic. I'm nothing but excited for all of these movies coming out. X-Men Apocalypse, although it's probably the one I'm least excited about, I'm still very excited about seeing. Doctor Strange is going to be awesome. Suicide Squad, of course, is going to be amazing, I think. This year alone, we got a bunch of great movies, not to mention non-comic book movies that are going to come out. Star Wars Rogue One. I'm excited to see that as well. There's just going to be so many cool things coming out this year. It's a great year for film, So I think it's about time to wrap it up. I just want to end off by saying about the future of this. My goal is just make uploading less, start uploading more regularly. Possibly doing, eventually I would like to get the show back where we have a couple of guests on, which will not only increase the length of an episode, but you can listen to somebody besides me talk, which I'm sure many people want to listen to somebody besides me talk in real life too. But having more people on the show is always great. And what I'm thinking about doing is maybe doing during the week is myself do an episode or two, and then on weekends when scheduling allows is when I would have other people. I know that during the summer and then starting next fall, due to a bunch of relocation things, this is going to become much more regular, much more easier to do as far as people finding time, because to let you know the truth, which I'm sure many of you, I think we might have mentioned, is that I don't live in the same place now after I've gone off to college, and I don't live in the same place as many of my friends do, especially Charles and Grayson, who have been on. Josh lives up here, but he's very busy. All three of them are very busy because it's their senior year in high school. I'm busy up in college, but luckily, all those three will be going to the same college as me starting next fall, which is going to make getting them on the show a lot easier. And also this summer too, many of my friends who are off at different colleges can be on. I've got a great friend, Joe, who's been interested in being on. There's a bunch of people, especially during the summer, who I'd like to have on. I'm huge. I'm hugely excited. That doesn't make any sense. There's no such term, so I'm coining it. I'm hugely excited to do this summer, have a bunch of great people on, and next fall. But I can't just not do anything until then. I want to keep going. I want to keep posting, giving out at least my thoughts, if nothing else. And so I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to try and do just me and my thoughts during the week, at least once a week, and then during the regular week, and then hopefully on the weekend get guests to be on. But we'll see. Obviously, stay tuned. We're going to get much more active on the Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at The Station Show. And also, use hashtag The Station. Follow us there. And you can hear this, if you're not already, through both iTunes and Stitcher, and through the RSS feed, which you can find on our website. Well, sort of a website, the blog, through our through Libsyn that we publish it through thestationshow.libsyn. That's LIBSYN.com. All the episodes are there, including blog posts, which we're going to start doing as well. Everything you'll need you can find there. Follow us on Twitter at The Station Show. And then subscribe to us on YouTube. All the episodes are posted on there, after they've been put through the RSS feed onto iTunes and Stitcher. And that's going to be the best place for you to leave comments for us. We're also going to start making videos to put on there. That's probably where I'd like to do a lot of the review videos, would be actual videos, put them on YouTube. But leave comments. Let us know. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you guys. What you think? Comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Subscribe to the station on iTunes and Stitcher. Follow us at The Station Show on Twitter. Thank you again for listening to this episode. Thank you again for being patient while we got the show back going. This has been Price Everett, and thank you again for tuning in to the station.